Have you ever come home from work and felt completely drained, even though nothing big really happened that day? No deadlines, no getting yelled at, just a normal day, a coworker talking a little too loud, your boss being a bit tense, your phone buzzing nonstop, a few messages left unanswered, and somehow it all piles up until you just want to shut everything off and disappear. Meanwhile, everyone around you seems totally fine. They're laughing, chatting, continuing their work like nothing happened. And you start wondering, am I just too sensitive? So you try to fix yourself. Try to be tougher. Try not to overthink anymore. But the more you try, the more exhausted you feel. This is where most people get it wrong. The problem isn't that you're too sensitive. The problem is that you're trying to live in an environment that doesn't match how your nervous system actually works. In this video, we're going to talk about how to truly survive. Not by changing who you are, but by building a greenhouse for yourself. And once you understand that, you'll realize the very thing that used to drain you is actually your greatest strength. To begin this journey of building your greenhouse, we first need a completely new way of understanding human value. There's a very interesting idea from Dr. Thomas Boyce, a researcher in human development. He found that people can generally be divided into two main groups based on how they respond to their environment. The first group, which makes up the majority, is often compared to dandelions. These people are highly adaptable. They can grow in many different conditions, even when the environment isn't ideal. They aren't strongly affected by changes around them, and that stability helps them maintain routines, work, and large systems in society. But there's another group, and you might be one of them, often compared to orchids. Not weaker, but more sensitive. Your nervous system reacts more strongly to the environment, processes information more deeply, and notices more details. While others might ignore small changes, you pick them up, from light and sound to very subtle emotional shifts in the people around you. But here's what you need to understand clearly. This is not a ranking of who is better. The real difference lies in how each group grows. Dandelions can thrive in many environments because of their adaptability. Orchids are different. They can't grow just anywhere, they need the right conditions to reach their full potential. If you try to force yourself to live by the standards of the majority, you'll only become more exhausted. Not because you're weak, but because that environment doesn't match how you function. So why were we built with a difficult nervous system like this? The answer lies in a biological concept called evolutionary mismatch. Imagine your nervous system as a highly sensitive sensor designed millions of years ago. In a quiet, natural environment, that sensitivity was a survival superpower. It helped our ancestors notice the sound of a branch snapping from far away, or detect the scent of a rare plant among dense forests. You were the protector of the tribe, the one who saw what others missed. It was a slow world with very little noise, but the world has changed too fast, and your nervous system hasn't. Think about the last time you walked into an open office. Zoom calls, conversations, constant phone notifications. You try to focus, but every few seconds your attention gets pulled away. By 11 a.m., you haven't done much, but your mind feels like it just ran a marathon. Everything around you continues as normal, and you start to feel like you're not in the right place. And that's exactly when you need a new strategy. Instead of trying to change the orchid seed inside you, we're going to start building a greenhouse for it. The greenhouse isn't a place to escape the world. It's a way to intentionally create the right conditions so you can return to the world at your best. Research shows that while highly sensitive people, HSPs, may suffer more in negative environments, they can actually thrive more in supportive ones. With a greenhouse, the orchid doesn't just survive. It begins to grow into its full potential. So today we're going to stop trying to toughen up in a way that doesn't work. Instead, we're going to start building that greenhouse right now with two practical strategies. Strategy 1, taking care of your nervous system. The very first and most important step in building your greenhouse is to take a hard look at everything you're taking in every single day. In psychology, this is called a sensory diet. Just like what you eat affects your physical health, what your senses consume affects your energy levels. A highly sensitive person has to manage their sensory diet with serious discipline. Let's be honest, this world is way too loud for you. You go to work and every keyboard click, every bit of chatter from coworkers slowly tightens your mind. Stop trying to endure it. The simplest fix? Put on a pair of headphones. They don't have to be expensive, just something that creates a sound boundary for you. If you're in a crowded place and feel your head starting to spin, step outside immediately. Don't force yourself to stay just because you're afraid of being seen as weird. You're not weak. The environment simply has too much noise for your system to handle. You don't need to apologize for a space that doesn't fit you. But blocking out negative input isn't enough. You also need a recovery space, what I call a quick reset corner. This doesn't have to be anything fancy. It could be an empty restroom, a quiet stairwell, or just sitting in your car in the parking lot. The method is simple. When you feel your mind starting to go numb or you get irritable easily, that's your overload signal. Step into that space immediately for 3 to 5 minutes. During that time, do not use your phone. Scrolling Facebook or TikTok right now is like drinking seawater when you're thirsty. It only drains your brain more. Just sit still and focus on your breathing. Let your nervous system cool down. Once you've removed the toxins and created a place to rest, the next step in building your greenhouse is to actively add things that nourish your senses. Look around you. Do you spend at least 10 minutes a day looking at greenery or natural light? Your brain craves those natural patterns to reset your emotions. For touch, be very picky about what you wear. Rough fabrics or stiff tags rubbing your neck can quietly drain your energy all day without you even realizing it. Choose the softest clothes you can. When you get home, try using a light blanket. The steady pressure on your body helps your nervous system understand it's safe now. You can relax. For sound, if you've been dealing with traffic noise and machines all day, fill your ears with rain sounds, ocean waves, or soft instrumental music when you get home. These sounds have a real healing effect on an overwhelmed nervous system. Beauty isn't a luxury. It recharges you faster than any supplement ever could. To complete this nervous system care, there's one small action that can completely change the game: a digital detox. Your phone is draining more energy than you think. If you can, switch your screen to grayscale. Losing those bright colors reduces how much your brain gets stimulated every time you check it. Keep your phone far away when you're resting. Don't let notifications control your heart rate and mood the moment you wake up. Remember, you control technology. Don't let it turn you into someone who's constantly anxious. Strategy 2. Taking care of your relationships. Once you've designed the physical environment of your greenhouse, you need to look at the second layer. The one that leaks energy the most: your relationships. Your biggest problem is this: you don't just hear other people's emotions, you take them home with you. You're like a sponge, soaking up sadness, anger, and anxiety from everyone around you. You come home exhausted not because the work was hard, but because you've been processing emotions for the entire office. So to build your psychological greenhouse, it's time to stop carrying other people's emotions. We often confuse empathy with taking on the burden. When you see a friend suffering, you tend to jump into the whirlpool with them. You think that's how you help. But the truth is, if both of you sink, no one gets saved. Start building a new habit. When facing someone else's pain, stand firm on the shore. You still listen, you still care. But say this line in your head: I understand this pain, but it's not mine. You throw them a rope through your presence, but you don't jump in. You don't have to suffer with them to be a good person. Staying grounded is what gives you the strength to actually help them long term. Along with not absorbing emotions, the most powerful defense tool you need in communication is the pause protocol. Because you're sensitive, you can instantly feel someone's disappointment if you say no. That makes saying no feel like torture. So you end up saying yes to every request, every invite you don't even want. Then you burn out and resent yourself. Starting today, follow a new rule. Never say yes immediately to anything that costs your time or energy. Use this universal line: let me check and get back to you. That sentence is the protective glass of your greenhouse. It creates space for your rational mind to step in instead of letting your people-pleasing instinct auto-approve everything. When you give yourself time to settle, you'll realize saying no to a plan when you're already exhausted is not the end of the world. People who truly care about you will respect that boundary. Not answering right away is the smartest way to protect yourself. Finally, for your greenhouse to truly be safe, you have to become a strict gatekeeper of your social circle. Not everyone deserves access to your space. Some people are like energy vampires. After spending time with them, you feel completely drained, like a deflated balloon. They may not be bad people, but their frequency is damaging your nervous system. Run a simple check after every interaction. After seeing this person, Do I feel lighter or heavier? If the answer is heavier, start reducing how often you see them. You are not responsible for healing everyone in this world. You don't need to keep everyone in your life to prove your worth. Your greenhouse should be reserved only for the seeds that truly matter, the ones that bring light into your life. Now, there's something you need to face directly. If you keep living the way you are, without protecting your nervous system, without changing your environment, the cost won't hit you right away, but it will come. At first, it just feels like a vague kind of exhaustion. You sleep enough, but you don't feel restored. You work, talk, interact, but underneath, there's always this quiet layer of burnout you can't quite explain. And over time, you get used to it. You start thinking that's just your normal state. When you stay overloaded for too long, your nervous system protects itself by lowering its sensitivity. And that's when you begin to lose your ability to feel deeply. Things that used to make you happy now feel dull. Things that once moved you now feel distant. Not because you've changed, but because your nervous system is too tired to keep feeling that deeply. You don't collapse all at once. You just slowly become less. Less energy, less connection, less of yourself. And that's the real cost. It's not that you're more tired than other people, it's that you lose the very thing that made you special. Your ability to feel deeply, connect deeply, and live fully. Over time, constant overload doesn't just stay emotional. It starts to show up in your body. Random aches, trouble sleeping, ongoing tension. These aren't isolated problems. This is your system speaking up after being ignored for too long. So building your greenhouse isn't just an option to live better. It's a condition for not slowly losing yourself in a world that wasn't designed for how you function. Every time you choose to rest when you need to, every time you set a small boundary, every time you protect your quiet, that's not weakness. That's how you hold on to the most important part of who you are before it gets worn down without you even noticing. All of these solutions ultimately lead to one deep shift in how you see your life. You have to stop living on autopilot. You might be thinking, but isn't that kind of selfish? Why do I have to make things so complicated when everyone else seems fine? This is the most dangerous mental trap for sensitive people. The desire to become normal by the crowd's standards. Face the truth, the modern world was designed by dandelion-type people for dandelions. If you choose to live by the crowd's rules, you will burn out. You can't win someone else's game by playing by their rules. To not just survive but truly thrive, you have to live consciously. You need to become an expert manager of your own sensitive system. Living consciously means you intentionally choose what you let into your eyes, who you spend time with, and what environments you step into. You are no longer a victim of your surroundings. You become the one who designs them. Don't look at other people's resilience and blame yourself for being too much. Be proud that you can feel deep values and subtle layers that they may never even notice. When you accept that you are an orchid, you stop trying to turn yourself into a dandelion. And that's when your superpower starts to work. This world is becoming more mechanical and numb. It needs your sensitivity, your compassion, and your depth to become more human. So what does all of this mean for you right now? When you build your own greenhouse, something amazing happens. You stop seeing yourself as overly emotional or weak. Instead, you start to experience a burst of creativity, a deep empathy that makes others feel understood and more open, and a unique sensitivity that not everyone has. There's nothing wrong with you. You just need the right environment to grow the way you were designed to. You're experiencing the world at a level of detail that most people don't even notice. And once you learn how to protect that system, you'll start to see just how vivid and beautiful this world really is. Don't wait until tomorrow to start changing. Right here, right now, choose one small action to begin building your greenhouse. It could be ordering a pair of noise-canceling headphones right away. It could be having the courage to say, "Let me get back to you," to a request that drains you. Or simply taking 5 minutes to sit still, close your eyes, breathe deeply, and quietly thank your incredible nervous system for letting you experience the world so fully. You don't need to become a dandelion to succeed. Be the strongest, most vibrant orchid inside the greenhouse you create for yourself. When you grow in the right environment, you'll start to clearly see your value in this world. And if you see yourself in today's message, hit subscribe and share this with someone you know who needs it. Because here, we don't just learn about psychology. We learn how to understand ourselves.